Hello everybody, it's Josie here. I'm going to be doing a TBR. So this TBR is for the first readathon that I'm taking part in for the month of March. And that is the Femme Fan Tale Readathon. So this one is a readathon that is being hosted by one of my favourite booktubers, and that's Jean at Bookish Thoughts. I'll link her announcement video down below. And this is all about celebrating female fantasy authors, which I love. I love celebrating female authors generally, and I think sometimes female authors are kind of underrepresented in, particularly I think kind of the sci-fi and horror side of fantasy. So I think it's a really cool idea to just celebrate female fantasy authors and read some amazing books by the authors. So what Jean has done is she's put together like a bingo board of different challenges that you can follow. So I've picked up a stack of books that I thought might fit some of these challenges, and I'll go through these and tell you what I'm planning to read. The readathon is running from the 2nd, so tomorrow, through to the 10th. So I'm not sure if I'll manage to get through all of these books, but I'm kind of hoping to get through all of them in February nevertheless. So here goes. So the first one I've got is this one over here. It's The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin, and this is kind of post-apocalyptic sci-fi fantasy. And this is, I think, will fit into the category of a POC author. So I don't want to really know too much about it going in. I know a lot of people really like it, and it's all about kind of the world ending and what that does, and kind of magic and those bits and pieces. So I'm kind of really looking forward to this. This is also one of my must-reads for the first half of the year, so it's a good chance to get this one kind of knocked off the list. So the next one here I've got is Legendary. Now, Legendary is the follow-up to Caraval, and this is in the category for romance, because Caraval did have an element of romance in it, which I'm kind of expecting Legendary to have. First of all, let's appreciate this really cool cover. I love it. It is sprayed. I love a sprayed edge. This is the Waterstones exclusive, and I've really been dying to kind of read the follow-up to Caraval. For those of you that haven't read Caraval, it's a bit like, I suppose a lot of people compare it to the Night Circus, in that it's this kind of elaborate game of magic that you have to play and you can win. But I won't go too much into the plot, because if you haven't read the first one, if I tell you the entire plot, it's going to ruin it. But Legendary kind of picks up where the first one left off, and it's about two sisters, and they are basically playing the game of Caraval, Scarlet and Tella. And in the first one, Scarlet is being kind of promised in marriage to someone, and Tella is trying to help her get away and help them get away from their quite abusive, controlling father as well. But it's a lot of fun. It's very kind of Venice Mardi Gras ball inspired, which I really love, and it's just kind of a fun read, so I thought, great opportunity to read it now. And the next one I've got here is this book over here. It's called Tentacle by Rita and Diana. This one is really interesting sounding. So again, it's a little bit post-apocalyptic, and it is a kind of, it deals with gender politics, with queer politics. It just sounds interesting. There seems to be some, I think, in Santa Dominica, so there seems to be some kind of Santeria magic going on, which I love reading about as well. Again, like I said, set in Santa Dominica, which is a bit different from, I'm trying to read a bit more diversely, but this one just sounds interesting, and this one is going in the category I'm just trying to see, both translated and novella, because it's a really short book. I think it's like only 120 odd pages, so yeah, so I think this one just sounds intriguing, and again, I'm kind of glad that the readathon is giving me the opportunity to get to it, because I've just bought it. Then the next one is actually having me knock off my classic for the month. So it's this book over here. It's Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. And again, let's appreciate this really cool version of the book. I managed to find this in a charity shop, and it's a gorgeous sort of hardback, almost like children's edition, but I really like it. So Frankenstein is obviously the classic, Mary Shelley, and I'm going to be really honest and say I'm really bad. I haven't actually read Frankenstein. I've watched various versions, and I've kind of had some adaptations, but I've never really read the original. So great opportunity to do that. It's going to be my classic for the month. And then also, I feel like you can't have a readathon celebrating female fantasy authors without kind of the original female horror fantasy author, Mary Shelley, included. So really looking forward to getting to Frankenstein. The next one I've got here, kind of from the old to the new, is this over here. This is Out of the Blue by Sophie Cameron, and the synopsis, kind of all I needed to know was sapphic angels. So the premise of this one is that angels stop falling from heaven, but our lead character is a queer lady, and I think what happens here is that she kind of falls in love with one of the angels. So I think this is gonna be just a lot of fun to read, kind of a bit trashy YA. Lesbian romance fun. This goes into the category of queer. It can also be romance and goes into the YA category, so it knocks off quite a few. So again, I'm looking forward to reading this. I think it's just going to be a fun read, that. And then the last one I've got is this one over here. It is The Invisible Library. Now this is, I don't know if that's picking it up, but this is a very cool cover. I like me a shiny cover. This one, I picked this kind of up on a whim because it sounded really interesting. So this is by Genevieve Cogman, yeah, Cogman. And I've noticed that there's sequels to this. So I guess if I do like it, I might continue. But this kind of falls into my adult category, really. And it's about a lady who is kind of the keeper of this secret library where she gathers all these dangerous books. And it sounds like it's a bit of a spy thriller, a bit of a fantasy, but magical, kind of, yeah, sort of Victorian a little bit. So I'm kind of really looking forward to this. I don't really know what to expect. I kind of want to keep my mind open, but it just sounds like, again, it's going to be quite a fun read. And I'm thinking this one and Legendary are probably the two that I'm going to start with. So yes, so those are my books. There's quite a few. Like I said, I don't know if I'll get through all of them, but I will get through all of them in March, and I'll do a wrap up and tell you what I think of all of those books. So yeah, have fun. If you're taking part in the readathon, let me know what you're reading. Yeah, and have a good weekend and enjoy. I'll speak to you guys soon. Bye bye.